Hello, my name is Andy and I am the village idiot, a man with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. Welcome back to the district of West Lindsey in Lincolnshire. Now, today's village is one with a name that you've seen before on the channel, but not here in West Lindsey, rather in Wakefield. And in that district, it was joined, if you remember, to North Elmsall. This is the Lincolnshire version, this is the West Lindsey version of the parish of Upton. Upton in West Lindsey sits between the villages of Heapham and Kexby and shares a civil parish border with Lee, Nath, Kexby, Hartswell, Corringham, Heapham and Glentworth. Much bigger than our last two here in West Lindsey, it has an area of just over 8.3 kilometres squared, a population density of 54.45 and it's 98.5% white British demographically. The average house price here is £166,000. Our main walk begins at the Heapham end of the High Street, opposite the old post office seen here on the corner. The River Till passes close to the northern end of Upton village. Our nearest town here is Gainsborough, some 3 miles away. We'll be back to the High Street shortly, but onto Lodge Lane we find some new builds being constructed in this corner. New housing development blends in well here with the older, mellow brick and tiled houses and farms. There are a number of Victorian buildings here that are built with an attractive, locally produced brick. There are some dwellings listed as being of architectural interest too, the oldest being Upton Hall with its high walled garden and small plantation. Local tradition links the hall with Parliamentary troops during the Civil War. Another fascinating building is Upton Chippy, the last coal-fired fish and chip shop in existence. Unchanged since 1948, the place has been described as a working museum. Let's have a look at it. Okay, we're going to go down the High Street in a moment, but I just want to mention this next. I just noticed this coming off Lodge Lane. This is Upton Chippy, and it looked, for all the world, like it had closed because of the door here, which is bricked up now, but it seems like the entrance is nowadays down here, which is a good thing. I'm glad it's still open, if it is still open, because that was a damn good chippy, I can tell you that. When I was a kid I used to come here occasionally and get some fish and chips, so good to see if it's still open. I can gladly confirm it is still open on Friday evenings and Saturday at midday. Moving on, there's a green space next on the opposite corner with some memorials and some sculptures to see. Check out these fish. And this horse-drawn plough, highlighting the agricultural nature of this part of Lincolnshire. Upton has a small but charming, well-kept Methodist chapel built in 1822, with a schoolroom of mellow brick added 30 years later. The chapel is one of the oldest in the county of Lincolnshire that's still in regular use. Continuing down the High Street now, we're heading back towards Heapham, and we're taking a right turn shortly down Church Road. Upton has a nice network of footpaths that link various areas of the village, including this one which runs back towards the Chippy. This passes some allotments which we'll see again later from the other side. Now we're back on the high street, opposite Padmore Lane. To the south is the neighbouring village of Kexby, with a population and size similar to that of Upton. Together, the two villages, with a total population of some 700 people, form the ecclesiastical parish of Upton cum Kexby. So that public footpath that we've just walked down is quite an important thing in this route around Upton, because the village is laid out in like a grid, if you look at it on the map, with like a circle around, sort of an elongated circle around the edge, and then streets crossing it in the middle. And I needed an extra one, and that footpath helped me because it brought me back to the main street. And I've stopped here because there's a sign here: Jumble Sale, 16th of October, 2 till 4 p.m. at Upton and Kexby Village Hall. And the two villages share that village hall, but it does actually fall within the parish of Kexby, and that'll be in the next episode. My next job is to walk towards Kexby that way, because I can see a few things of interest. But just before I do that, I need to walk along there, because otherwise I won't be able to fit it in anywhere else in the route. Padmore Lane connects Upton to Nath Park, and you can access some areas of Gainsborough as well via this road, including Upton's nearest supermarket, Gainsborough's Morrison's. Neville Barnes Limited is located here at the Old Forge, a supplier of agricultural machinery parts. This is also next to the village shop. Back to the high street now. The BT telephone box is a permanent decoration. How nice is this? If you need a bus to or from Upton, you'll be looking for the 106 service to Gainsborough. Upton's parish notice board can be found in this bus shelter on the high street. Many parts of the church are of Norman origin. It stands impressively on slightly higher ground in the centre of Upton village, and it's dedicated to All Saints and serves both villages. In 1767, the tower fell down and a new one with a circular west window was built. The nave dates back to the 13th century, but parts of the north aisle were rebuilt in 1875. Part of the north chancel wall has 11th century herringbone. The east end of the chancel was heavily restored in 1880 by James Fowler of Louth and has reused 14th century label stops. A quick look around the churchyard, I found this rather nice headstone for Richard Pattison in the shape of a scroll from 1876. The village inn now, the Rose and Crown, which has recently been tastefully refurbished, built in 1953, replacing another one of ancient origin. Outside is a board advertising a gig, the Geriatrics. They're an exciting 5-piece band that play rock, pop and country music from the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s. The Geriatrics, really? What a great name for a band. Well, maybe you Upton locals, if you went to that gig, because this video will be out long after that's happened, you'll be able to tell me if they were any good. Okay, so our next job is to go down Church Road, and this begins here with the War Memorial on this corner. The War Memorial now, and this must be relatively new as it does not appear on the Google Street View photographs from May 2011. Now to walk down Church Road where we find this nice burial ground managed by Upton and Kexby Joint Burial Authority. This has a small amount of graves and is linked to the allotments that we saw earlier from the footpath. We continue down Church Road, which leads to a junction with Church Road. The two roads have the same name. We're about to enter the south of the village now, which has Main Street, that's flanked on either side by Avenue A and Avenue B. These houses are all a little different, white bungalows that almost look prefabricated. Do any Upton locals know why this part of the village was built like this? Both Upton and Kexby have a number of farms and farmhouses. Some examples are seen here as we emerge back onto the high street. There's a small fishery here too, off the high street, as we walk towards Kexby. So where I'm standing here, the parish boundary between Upton and Kexby is literally just beyond those houses you can see in shot right there, and that's where I'm going to end this video, in fact, because I'm going to end at Upton and Kexby Village Hall, which is just beyond those houses, and that's where I'll start the Kexby video off. For now though, we're almost finished with the main walk around Upton. All I've got to do is go back onto Main Street, take a little public footpath along to Avenue B, which will lead me back to where I began. So yeah, that means I owe you guys a picture bit, doesn't it? Here it comes. On Common Lane towards Heapham is Coles Mere, a collection of holiday lets, each with a barbecue and a terrace, and guests can go fishing as well here in the nearby lake. Old Hall is a farmhouse built in the mid-18th century, possibly on 16th century foundations. It was altered in the 19th century, and it was constructed of the same colour-washed red brick that is found in other local buildings. In the Methodist chapel is another war memorial, a brass plaque showing 9 names from World War I and 2 from World War II. More footpaths for you now, a small one that links Main Street to Avenue B. Both Upton and Kexby have extensive field paths, all well signposted and maintained, and they lead to places like Heapham, Willingham, Nape and Gainsborough, with magnificent views of the villages of the Trent Valley and the Lincolnshire Cliff. The paths cross interesting and varied fields, including some meadows where the pre-enclosure method of strip farming can still be easily traced. As the rain began to fall, I had to run back up Church Road to the car. I quickly stopped on the way to record Kexby's village sign, which is located between Kexby and Upton, built to commemorate the Queen's Jubilee in 2002. And here we are then at Upton and Kexby Village Hall, or as the sign says, Upton cum Kexby Village Hall, which is where this video for Upton is going to end, and it's where Kexby is going to begin. And the rain is just about to fall, so I need to get to the car, which is thankfully just there, and put my coat on before I start that one off. This has been the parish of Upton, and I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.